Hi! Today we're going to be graphing inequalities, and this is going to be really easy. As we do this today, you're going to be working with the piece of paper that you have, and we are going to be creating a foldable that will help you remember how to graph inequalities. So let's get started. The first thing that you're going to need to do is watch. Fold your paper so this is on the top. Now we're going to cut along these dotted lines. Do each dotted line right up to the solid line. Now that you've got that done, let's get started figuring out how we graph inequalities on a number line. Each symbol that we're going to teach you has a very specific meaning, and it's important that you remember what they are. All right, our top one is x is less than. So anytime that we're graphing an inequality on a number line and our symbol is less than, we're going to use a open circle with an arrow to the left to show that it's left. Now the open circle shows that the answer is less than this number. The symbol looks like this. Go ahead and put that on your paper. If you lift the tab, what you're going to see is a number line. And let's go ahead and graph an x equals less than inequality. The inequality we're going to graph is x is less than 2. Since x is less than 2, I'm going to put my open circle at 2. And my arrow will go to the left because it's less than. Notice that my arrow points the same direction as the less than sign. See, this arrow points this way. Okay, and the open circle says it can't be 2, but x could be 1, x could be 0, x could be -1, -2, -3, -4, and on and on and on. Pretty easy, right? So the open circle means it's not that number. Let's take a look at our next tab on the front. We have x is greater than. Again, we're going to use that open circle, but this time our arrow is going to go to the right. And notice that the greater than symbol is pointing the same direction that our arrow does. Now, let's take a look under the tab and let's graph a greater than inequality. The inequality to graph is going to be x is greater than -3. We're going to use the open circle at -3, and the arrow is going to go to the right because numbers on the number line get greater as we move to the right. So the open circle is at -3, and our arrow goes to the right to show that x cannot be -3, but it could be -2, -1, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5. Just remember that when I use the open circle, it always means that it's not that number. So it's greater than or less than that number. And my arrow points in the direction that it is. So if it's greater than, it goes to the right. If it's less than, it goes to the left. You can also remember that left, less, or you can look at the symbol and know that your arrow is going to point in the same direction. Next one that we have is x is less than or equal to. For this, because it's equal to the number that we're putting it on, we're going to change our circle from just an outlined circle to a solid circle. And our arrow will still go the same direction as our less than symbol to the left because it will be less than. So I have a solid red circle and my arrow pointing to the left. Let's graph one of those inequalities. The inequality that I want you to graph is x is less than or equal to 1. So I'm going to put my solid circle at 1 and my arrow pointing to the left. Remember, it's a solid circle because this time it could be 1. My answer could be 1, 0 to -1, -2, and on and on and on. For the final tab, we're going to be looking at x is greater than or equal to. And this time the symbol is still going to be the solid circle because it could be equal to this one as well. So we want to hit that spot right on. And my arrow is going to go to the right, showing that the number gets greater than. And we know numbers on the number line get greater as we go to the right. It's also pointing the same direction as my greater than symbol. Graphing one of the equations or inequalities for this is pretty easy. X is greater than or equal to -5. I'm going to put a solid dot at -5 because it could be -5. It could be equal to it. And my arrow is going to go to the right because the numbers to the right get larger and it's the same direction as the symbol for greater than is pointing. Now that you've got all of this done, let's see if you can do some on your own, but you can still use your foldable to help you. On the very back, you have these 6 inequalities. Go ahead and graph them and then raise your hand and get them checked.